Good morning, IB 11s. Today our topic is 2G, inequalities. Let's look at the difference between an equation and an inequality. An equation is a mathematical statement that two expressions are equal. That means something 1 equals something 2. That's an equation. And the inequality is a mathematical statement that two expressions are not equal. That means something 1 can be larger than or equal to, smaller than or equal to something 2. Let's review some important inequality properties. And I do believe you guys have learned those properties in Math 9 already. The first one is, if A is greater than B, and C can be any real number, then A plus C is still larger than B plus C. This property suggests that if we add the same number to both sides of the inequality, we always keep the inequality sign. The second one, if A is larger than B and C is a positive number, if we multiply both sides by the same number, as long as this is a positive number, we still can keep the inequality sign. So here we can still get AC is greater than BC. If I have A is larger than B, but C is a negative number, when I multiply both sides of the inequality by a negative value, I need to reverse the sign. Every time, hope that you guys can keep this one in your mind. When you multiply both sides of the inequality by a negative number, you need to reverse the sign. Number 4, if A is larger than B and both of them are positive numbers, then we can say A squared is greater than B squared. If A is less than B and both of them are negative numbers, then we still can get A squared is greater than B squared. For the last two properties, you guys also can use numbers to help you understand them further. For example, in property 4, if I say A is 3, B is 2, we can see 3 squared is larger than 2 squared. For property 5, if I say A is negative 3, B is negative 2, and A is more negative than B value, but if you square negative 3, you guys know this one is 9 and this one is 4. So this one also shows me the more negative the number is, the larger the square of this number is. But of course, in those 5 properties, the first 3 are the most important properties that we need to know. The steps of solving inequalities. Okay, here the textbook has summarized the steps of solving inequalities already. But I want to let you guys know, those steps are only for quadratic inequalities, or cubic inequalities, or polynomial inequalities whose degree is higher than or equal to degree 2. Those steps are not for linear inequalities. For linear inequalities, we will use different steps. But anyway, let's look at the steps of solving a quadratic inequality. So the first step is always move all terms to the left-hand side and make the right-hand side 0. Fully factorize the left-hand side. Then draw a Venn diagram for the left-hand side. Finally, determine the values required from the Venn diagram. In mathematics, we have different types of the inequalities. We have linear inequalities, quadratic inequalities, rational inequalities, and rational inequalities. Later on, we also will learn exponential inequalities, log inequalities, trig inequalities, and etc. Let's look at the first example. If you look at this example closely, you will see the highest degree of x is 1. This one means this is a linear inequality instead of a quadratic inequality. So let's use this one as an example to review all the steps of solving a linear inequality. For a linear inequality, if you have the brackets, you need to remove the brackets. Here, we can use the distributive property to expand the brackets. Negative 2 times 3x is negative 6x. Negative 2 times negative 2, it's plus 4. Plus 4x is larger than or equal to 7x minus 1. Of course, the next step is to combine the like terms. Negative 6x plus 4x, that's negative 2x plus 4, is greater than or equal to 7x minus 1. For the linear inequality, we never move all the terms to one side and leave one side to be 0. For this inequality, we need to isolate x term from the numbers, which are also called constants. So I will move 7x to the left side and move positive 4 to the right side. Then I will get negative 2x minus 7x is greater than or equal to negative 1 minus 4. Then combine the like terms. Negative 2 minus 7x is negative 9x. It's larger than or equal to negative 1 minus 4, negative 5. But this time, you have to be very careful because I need to divide both sides by a negative number. When you either multiply or divide both sides by a negative number, you always need to remember, you need to flip the sign. So this one should be x is less than or equal to 5 over 9. So here we go. This is also the solution for this linear inequality.